sometimes don't even answer the question that was asked. I don't know if that's a common thing these days, but it seems to be the case at this TI at the very least. But very bold, under 30 minutes, Cinderin. Do you believe?
I mean, that's about half my interactions with Slacks, though. He asks me a question, and I don't really answer it because the question was bad. But that was actually a pretty good question, so I'm proud of him. I think he's improved a lot. 30 minutes?
Yeah.
I like confidence, obviously. I think if they'd interviewed Chu, he would have been like, yeah, we'll probably find a way to win, I suppose. But Immortal Faith is a little bit more animated, and a little more, you know, he makes more maybe radical predictions. I would be very impressed if GAIMIN Gladiators win this game in 30 minutes, but the thing I really like about hearing it is that I think that is what they should be setting out to do with this strategy, because I kind of agree with him when he says that they're going to outpace OG. I think there's portions of this game that should be happening, and then it's about whether OG can weather the storm and buy themselves enough time. Also worth noting, Amar playing in this tournament, he's been playing Sand King a couple of times. This is not a traditional Amar hero in the sense that it's not a lane dominator. It's not a hero that scales particularly well with farm compared to a lot of other picks he has. So maybe this time around, if things do slow down a little bit, it's not as much in the bag for OG later either. Because I think carry Naga in this game is not automatically going to win this late against a mid Kunkka and a safe lane Shadow Fiend. There's plenty of AoE damage, have solutions. So it's going to be really interesting to see. And obviously, or not obviously, but honestly, more important than the strategies, how do OG bounce back from that last game? Like, we can't overlook the fact that that was a game they feel like they should have won. Do they have that mental reset backstage?
We already have a level 1 battle here. Dyrachyo gets off a couple nice raises, but won't result in a kill. As in terms of the actual bounty distribution, I believe it's going to be split here. Worth still to come. Yep. But yeah, we're going to see the Invoker again come out from OG, which was obviously extremely successful in that game #1. But and they have the Naga again, but this time it is in the carry role. So looking at their lineup, like, what is their goal other than to win the game? Don't make that joke. Like, what kind of a pace are they trying to set? Like, they just want to stem the bleeding, which is the laning stage for them, or?
I mean, there's plenty of combination plays for OG, right? You have Sand King Mirana, as was pointed out. You have the Sunstrike. If they can make a couple of successful early skirmishes like they did in game #1, I definitely think their mid game can be really strong. But I would say their lineup is more dependent on being able to do that. Like, let's say nothing happens for 10 or 15 minutes. I think GAIMIN Gladiators have this really, really strong potential push with Tombstone, with Beastmaster, with the Shadow Fiend, and Kunkka hitting this like really strong mid-game peak. And it's their bread and butter as a team, right? This is what they were so good at earlier in the year, so you would imagine that they have the confidence to pull it off, playing this faster pace.
Yep, and once Ace gets a couple items, Helmet of the Overlord, I would assume. That's kind of feels like a bit of a death ball, where they try to get these towers relatively early, but we'll see what the pace ends up being for them. Mid lane is Boom on the Kunkka this time around versus, as we talked about, BZM's Invoker. What do you think of the Kunkka pick this game? Because that's... a lot of these heroes have been kind of recycled throughout the series to some degree, other than Sand King, I guess, Mirana, and this Kunkka.
Yeah, it's a hero that generally does very well against Invoker, but I think Quasic Sword has a much stronger laning phase against it than Quaswex does, so I would imagine this lane probably pretty much breaks even. That was one of the parts why they picked it. I think the other one was to cover their bases in case Naga goes carry, right? We had the same situations in game #1 where OG have the ultimate last pick, so you want to make sure you don't expose yourself to having Shadow Fiend have to deal with Naga on his own in case it goes late.
Right.
So it felt like a little bit of a very nice solution to finding a hero. They were probably like, okay, what hero can we choose that lanes well against Invoker and can help us against a potential carry Naga? And I think they made a good choice. Also, the whole pacing thing, right? I just think this lineup it's nice to look at. There's a clear story to how the heroes want to combine and get something done.
As the axes come out from Ace in the bottom lane, harassment continues. Again, this is game #3, elimination match here. Winner will play the winner of the next series to come. How many OG fans we have in the house today? Okay, not bad. What about GAIMIN Gladiators? Oh, wow. Okay, actually more GAIMIN Gladiators based on my old ears, Cinderin. But good to see. Nice distribution either way.
Or maybe they're just louder.
Yeah, very, very true. The vocal minority, as some would say.
Yeah.
But
I'm sure they made some fans in that last game. That was a nice comeback.
Absolutely. I mean, you talked about the momentum potentially coming out from something like that. I mean, OG, it feels like they don't get affected by it as much as other teams that are, I mean, they're pretty young, right? But I think that storyline kind of them being affected by stuff like this kind of ended after the last major. Celery making some heavy damage. There's the leap from Taiga. Another one. Right click to come. And he'll end up getting first blood as a result of it. Taiga just continuing to roam on this Mirana.
Yeah, you just can't underestimate the Sunstrike factor. It's always going to be there.
Oh, Burrow strike Sandstorm into the arrow. Even bigger kill coming out from OG in the top lane.
That was very greedy. Did he not expect Amar to be there?
Radiant's bottom tower is under
honestly,
attack.
the worst part about, look at how many denies Amar can get here, or CS that Shadowfiend loses.
Yeah.
He lost a full wave. I mean, sure, Celery gets some experience here, but that is just not a good start. And you know, Shadowfiend Undying lane, I would pick any day against Sand King Mirana to have a good start. Just Undying being a dominant force in this lane with decays. He feels very safe, but Sunstrike is that X factor. You just can't deny that. That is the kind of thing that can swing this kind of lane, and OG are making use of it.
I mean, that's how Arrow is balanced, right? It's hard to hit, but if you have the setup stun,
Yep.
it gets pretty scary. And Burrow's not too bad for that Ice Path as well.
If you want an arrow that you don't have to hit, you can play Gyro.
Okay, sure.
It's a lot weaker than a perfect arrow, though.
That's right. It's not as exciting, some would say.
Oh, again, top.
Yeah,
Duracho. Oh, they didn't
coming out. Sunstrike not gonna
miscommunication
connect
there. Or I think Taiga didn't see the line for the arrow, so he didn't go for it. He went for the leap Starstorm because he felt like he was going to hit a creep. Duracho, counting his lucky stars there. If there's an arrow connection, he's dead again. Glimpse.
Yeah,
Looking
Ace.
base safe.
Trying to get rid of these pesky illusions via the axes.
Yeah. And look at their inventories bottom as well. Ace with the triple mango Basilius and Tofu with the triple mango. So just really,
I mean, Ace loves these
non-stop
mangoes.
spamming. He does.
Even last game.
They're just spamming. Yuragi running low on that region. There's a couple of tangos left for Misha to pull. But he has to be careful himself that he doesn't get too exposed here. He would almost die to this Thunder Strike. He has Stick and Fairy. Will have to use both, I think. The Fairy will be safe. With the Tango running.
Tofu successfully dealing tons of damage as the support disruptor.
Get Ace's CS line here. 13 denies.
We got the ensnare. Sunstrike to come, and that's enough. BZM. That's going to help him in the mid lane.
Yeah, it's going to give Yuragi a bit of breathing room. He's getting crushed. He's 19-0 against Beastmaster's 34-13. So 13 denies on that Beast. Definitely has a big laning or level advantage until that Sunstrike kill comes in.
And mid lane before that point, I mean, basically even on the CS between BZM and Boom. And we'll see if BZM kind of changes the build at all, or if he's just going to go the exact same thing. I mean, obviously the Midas not too big of a surprise. And then after that, we'll see.
I think he'll do the same again, yeah.
Loaded to the gills.
This does not feel like a Midas Sand King game, though. I will make that prediction ahead of time.
Yeah, pretty good call.
That would be one of the worst heroes maybe to get that. Especially, he actually farms relatively fast once you get the Sandstorms up, but...
Yeah.
I mean, this is...
don't you worry. Amar's going to max Sandstorm, okay? There's a limit. He's not maxing Burrow Strike.
Understand.
No way.
In terms of CS, or net worth overall, kind of averaging out right now, but like you said, Ace is kind of tipping the balance a bit in GAIMIN Gladiators' favor between the two offlaners right now. And
with a very fast Helm of the Dawn, this bottom lane actually becomes a lot scarier for OG. I don't think they can really afford to send their Mirana down here to do cleanup duty. Like, if you swap Mirana and Jakiro, I think your top lane is very susceptible all of a sudden. Jakiro does not perform nearly as well as Mirana against Undying Shadowfiend, so that lane swap wouldn't really be too good, I think. And Snare bottom, there's the
Sunstrike coming, but it's going to be shared, it looks like, between Tofu and Ace. Still, these axes. Glimpse now onto Yuragi. He's getting very low. Has to pop the wand. The ice path used to dissuade GG from continuing on, but Taiga has TP'd in. Leap into the Starstorm. Not going to be enough to find a kill as Misha's taking the Thunderstrike damage from Tofu. So despite the TP coming out from OG, GAIMIN Gladiators are the one that gets the kill.
I'm very curious what Tofu's skills are.
Oh, Amar in the Sandstorm. They have the vision. Has to burrow to the high ground. It's like he's fine.
What does Tofu skill? He's still holding his point. There's the glimpse.
Oh, Yuragi! Ace gets credit for that one. And this bottom lane, absolute disaster for OG.
This is just such a high pressure lane. Just axe spam, Thunderstrike spam, glimpse now dealing damage. I think perhaps the mindset that people have when they see Disruptor picks where they're like, this is a position 5, is a little bit outdated. Because now that glimpse deals damage, I think he offers a lot more in offensive dual lanes. Just really... It's not insignificant. If you're ahead in the lane and you force enemies away and you get that extra 150, 200 damage that you didn't use to. And also keep in mind, this hero with farm, I would argue Disruptor scales pretty well. He has an insane axe, he has really good talents. Like, don't count this out as a potential 4-pick later in the tournament.
Mars going to be seen here. There's the dust. He is X'd up as well. Torrent to follow, and the raise tries to time it, but can't. As Boom gets credit for that one. Nice arrow from Taiga taking out a creep, but still, this feels like GAIMIN Gladiators' pace at the very least. They're finding the more valuable kills overall. We'll see in terms of the mid lane. Obviously, we've seen the Kunkka kind of participate already. BZM with the Midas now in tow. Once he gets the Boots of Travels, I assume that's his go time to get a little bit more involved with the team. Wow, that was a lot of neutrals instantly. That sound was quite aggressive, actually.
Yuragi is gonna find Ace here. Couldn't snare Sunstrike this.
Yep, they're gonna attempt to.
Oh, nice block on the arrow.
Arrow not gonna connect, but they still have so much damage to work with, and Ace drops to BZM. It's the second time in this game.
This is gonna come at the cost of Amar being in Struggle City up top. Like, Shadow Fiend has a firm control of this lane. He's completely alone on that Sand King, and even Boom was still fishing for an extra kill, but Amar with a good defensive ward had that vision and information.
Bottom tower is under attack.
Get caught.
Arrow coming in, but the creep wave arrived. But the ice path connects. Boom. Getting cold snapped into the meteor, but we see the static storm plays to zone them out, and it's gonna be enough.
All right, so I think
Get Boom away.
spell accuracy there was not the highest percentage. Static storm hit.
I heard Celery say something towards the end.
I think Tofu said good shit, bro. Good shit, didn't he?
I thought that was Celery.
Oh.
Very positive team, though, I will say. I like listening on their comms. Game pretty even, though. Let's talk about the eventual Roche to come, Cinder. You know, I love these conversations.
Yep.
There's two aspects to it. One is killing Roche and how fast, and the other is team fighting in that area.
Yeah, the fastest kill will go to GAIMIN Gladiators, I think, unless Naga is very farmed. Even with Alacrity Invoker factored in, you have Shadow Fiend and Beastmaster, just two of the really good heroes at killing the Roche. Together with, obviously, Flash Golem, Tombstone, everything. But the team fight around it is more tricky to call, right? Both teams have so much to work with. There's the Naga song into destroying Tombstone. That's an option for OG. You have tons of combinations if enemy heroes stack up between Sand King and Invoker. But then you also have something we haven't really talked about in general. Don't talk about that much with Kunkka. I think Ghost Ship is really important in this game. I think damage mitigation, whenever you're playing against a lineup that has this much like one-shot burst, the Ghost Ship can really make a difference. They're gonna find Yuragi. No song skill.
Yep, Ghost Ship is a coming. Gets hit. Daracho even priming his ult. Not even needing it though, because the static storm is placed with the raises in addition. More than enough damage to take out Yuragi. See if they go for this tier 1 tower, but OG, they've come, and there's the epic hit. The Blink Dagger comes out as well from Mar. And Duraccio, he's getting very low. Will drop inside the macro pyre. It's going to be a trade for the Jakiro, though. It's Taiga. Able to leap out, but still inside that kinetic field as they end up taking out BZM on the sideline here. And 4 dead overall in favor of GAIMIN. They lose the Shadow Fiend, but still, numbers on their side.
A good play from Tofu. That is so crucial that he finds that there. Sand King with the Blink reveal, Blink Epicenter stun, instantly glimpse to the top lane. You're going to see it here. So gets this initiation. He sees him there. He gets the glimpse while the ult is channeling. So only the burst strike comes out. And sure, you get the Shadow Feed for it, but that's everything thrown away. Gets sent to the top lane and doesn't have that second burrow strike that could have really cemented this fight potentially for OG. They get punished big time and lose the mid tower. That's huge. Garage was like, damn it, but good job, guys.
We've seen a few of those in this series for sure.
Yeah. And Shadow Fiend is very susceptible to getting blown apart by this spell combo that OG has, and they do showcase it there. But the cast around him, it feels good when you're playing Shadow Fiend and you can die first and win a fight. Because a lot of the time this hero is sitting on so much of your team's net worth and he's somewhat frail, and you get punished really hard. That time he wasn't even needed. He sponged up damage and his team pounds.
Oh, we have the gank here coming out from OG, and they're going to find themselves, boom, gets off his ghost ship, but to no avail here.
BZM with a tip, missing the arrow on the Sand King stun.
Doesn't need it. But they do see this juicy stack, and be a little bit of a slow one, but we have the glimpse top lane, static link, and the roar expended. Looks like BZM is going to tick out here one way or the other. Amar able to TP top. They might find a trade on Tofu, but see Celery in his flesh golem form with that soul rip available. And Duracio's come to play as well. You can see the tombstone dealing a huge amount of slow here.
Oh, nice from Amar.
Able to find another kill in favor of GAIMIN.
Well done.
And a tier 1 tower.
Dodges the glimpse with Burrow Strike. One of the only mobility spells in the game that can do that. Not the only, actually. It has to be a short list. If you time it, the way it works is that...
Storm Spirit.
Yeah, Ball Lightning. No? I don't think you can with Ball Lightning either.
Tower is under attack.
So Burrow Strike is really special because like you actually technically do get glimpsed back, but then it takes your end-point of the Sand King stun. So you want to cast it so that you begin the animation as you're getting glimpsed back, but you finish the animation after you have returned to the glimpse. That makes sense.
Radiant's middle
It's a pretty narrow window. Nicely done from Amar.
And they're going for the kill onto Boom again. The arrow Sunstrike combo as well. Tofu, he has to walk away knowing that Boom will likely fall again in the same area.
Damn, they almost didn't have enough in the tank there, but just enough. Another 100 health on Kunga could have made a huge difference there. But really,
they're still guarding the enemy ancients, and finally they will attempt it.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
They have the vision here, obviously, as GAIMIN Gladiators. We'll see if they try to contest. I mean,
GAIMIN they don't really see that much here.
Yep, the axes come out. Got a couple of those, but a lot of these are going the way of Amar.
Well, he steals the dragon. Taiga's going to run him.
And the roar coming into effect as well. And Taiga inside that fireball.
I can tell you with 100% confidence, I would have done the exact same thing there and died. That was a black dragon with 100 health that Ace took over. He leaps to try to arrow and kill it. It gets soul ripped by Undying, who's randomly there in the fog.
This
no
might
way
turn
out.
into a Roshan. Tombstone is down as GAIMIN. They're feeling it right now.
This is where their lineup really comes online, and you gotta say, Immortal Faith, you have 14 minutes left, so you gotta start
That's quite the
pushing
timer.
it here.
BZM would be a very big kill. Thunderstrike giving them some vision. Glimpse back into the static storm, attempting to TP out, but Boom is here. Boat and all. They get the Aegis. They get a high-value kill. GAIMIN Gladiators looking extremely good now in this game number 3.
Yeah, they also defend their mid tower still. Remember, this tower did get to have health quite a while ago, I believe, and just haven't been able to finish it off. And this is when things can get really scary for our lineup like the Radiant. Naga needs time. She's not ready yet. She has a Manta only. The enemy team has Helm of the Overlord, Tombstone, level 2 only for now, but well, Taiga, leave. That's not a good glimpse, but it's good enough.
It's dealing damage now. It doesn't matter anymore.
That's true.
He just wants to get an assist. Wait, did you get an assist back in the day when it didn't do damage? I wonder.
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
I think it still counted.
Dire's bottom
Well, Amar
tower
has
is
been
under
in
attack.
the enemy ancient area for seemingly the last 10 minutes, it feels like.
Yeah.
Radiant's
Very
top
comfortable
tower
here.
is under attack.
You're just gonna have to give up these towers. I think, realistically speaking, OG might just lose their entire tier 2 line here, because Shadow Fiend has 4 minutes on the Aegis. The team fight is extremely terrifying to take into Tombstone, Hawk Vision, Helm of the Overlord Dragon.
Radiant's
It's just
top
too much,
tower is
right?
fallen.
I don't think they can really solve it. The question
They're
is,
gonna force the fortification.
what do you do
at the
about
very
this
least
one?
here. Yeah.
Immortal Faith.
Immortal Faith.
He gave them maybe too much of a buffer. Maybe should have said 20 minutes.
That's right.
There's the X.
Tier 3 already at half HP. Torrent connects, but they're just doing the damage to the tower right now.
2/3 of it down.
Absolutely.
And did he didn't use Tombstone yet. They still have that for the next wave. They could honestly consider this. The stakes are
I'm
really
sure
high,
they're
though.
assuming that a bunch of TPs maybe came in the fog, but
Yeah, but
play it safe here.
there's honestly the possibility that you can choose not to care there. There's a pretty big difference between OG's lineup in this game and the previous in game 1 when they had the
Oh, we got the Moonlight Shadow coming out. What is coming though? Looks like Pack is going to be the recipient of that again. And 2 supports likely to fall right off the bat for OG. 5v3 advantage. Tofu, never mind. He's the support to fall for GAIMIN now. Yuragi's going to be found out. Now this will be a huge kill. Song ends up resetting for OG. That should open up GAIMIN Gladiators' way to just push down the mid lane potentially, but Amar is thinking the same thing. Takes out the next wave.
Yep. Managed to cut that. This is pretty crucial for him, buying that time. I think if he doesn't do that, that tower's gone. So, good job there. Effectively delaying the game so BZM can close in on a BKB, and Uragi surviving there also very important. But you're seeing the pace that GAIMIN Gladiators can put with this lineup. It's very, very quick. And are they actually going now? All right. That's good enough for them. No song.
Yep, that's a big spell down for sure. 2 minutes on the Aegis still. Sacrifice there. Arrow connects. Can they get the first life? From Duraccio.
Is under attack. Radiant's middle tower.
He's gonna get soul ripped back to a respectable amount of HP. And looks like they might just be setting their sights on the tier 2 mid instead here.
Yep. And in the meantime,
Radiant's middle
BZM
tower is under
solos
attack.
the bot tier 2 towers Invoker, opening up outpost possibilities.
Oh, that arrow. Did not go anywhere. Doesn't matter though.
Radiant's middle tower has fallen.
And remember, coming into this series, I believe the stat was in the last year or so, was it 17-4 in OG's favor?
Yeah.
Is that series or games?
Games.
That is absurd. And now we're on game number 3, brink of elimination for each team.
It would be the right time for GAIMIN Gladiators to
That's
finally
right.
get a win again.
I mean, we talked about it before game 1. That's a lot of learning opportunities.
Yeah.
Every
that
loss is a learning opportunity for sure. And with only a minute left on the Aegis, not sure if they can go for the last tier 2.
Dire's bottom tower is under
how GAIMIN
attack.
want to play this.
Might want to burn it top. Like, I think you really...
To get that tier 3?
Yeah, I think you take the